I've lived in New York for almost 10 years now, and I was reflecting when, getting close to this 10-year mark on the fights that I've seen in public. Because it's a lot. It's been a lot. I mean, I've seen plenty of fights in my life because have not always been able to afford neighborhoods that don't hit. And New York is a special place because it's all encompassing. New York, New Jersey have this thing where, yeah, obviously there are these neighborhoods that are affluent and these like really expensive parts and everything. But more often than not, we're all feeling everything that happens as it happens, And so I remember I saw a fight one time. I don't even know what happened before I got there, but luckily I got to the best part. Because these dudes, I guess they had been having words for a while, and it got to the time past words. Words were over. It's time for action, and one dude acted first. He went ahead and slapped this dude, but when he slapped him, I've never seen anything like it. When he slapped him, candy flew out of the other dude's mouth, and like. I think if candy gets slapped out of your mouth, you lost. Like that. It's not a good look. There's no cool move you could do to win it back. We're all gonna remember just Mike and Ike's flying out of your head. We're all gonna remember a bunch of M&Ms going. And this dude's was particularly bad because this dude had Skittles. And if you really eat Skittles like that, you know that like if you've been letting the Skittles marinate for a second, that the dye will come off and they'll just be white. They're like white underneath the color and everything. So when initially when this dude got slapped and the Skittles flew out of his mouth, there was a woman, I don't know if this woman knew either one of them, but because all the Skittles were white, she was like, his teeth! And so this dude got slapped, right? The Skittles fly out, and he has a genuinely shocked face. And I can't tell if he has a shocked face because he can't believe this dude actually slapped him, or he can't believe the Skittles flew that far. I'm not in this man's head, but what I would like to believe from the bottom of my heart is that he didn't know Skittles were in his mouth. He got hit and he was like, oh, when did I? That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing if like the universe as a whole saw what was happening. It was like, that slap was so good, something extra gotta happen. Let's put some Skittles in his mouth for this moment. Because one thing I've noticed about fighting, especially in real life, because I enjoy watching like boxing, different combat sports and stuff, because it's the most original form of trying to impose your will. One of the reasons we all ooh when someone dunks on somebody is because it's kind of like they slapped them. You know what I mean? It's like this incredible feat, and it's in their face, and the other person didn't want them to do it, but they were so strong they did anyway. Boom. And the fight is like that, but it's just quicker. It's like, oh, you didn't want to be hit, and you got hit a lot. But when you look at fights that happen in the world, you realize that most people, no matter how angry you are, and no matter what you think you can do, by the way, most people can't fight. Truly, like most people, you can get them mad and they know how to make a fist and they know how to use that fist to hit. But a lot of people, if they really try to punch somebody, they just sort of club them, Most people don't have good distance management or anything like that. A lot of people throw a punch without bending their knees. That is remarkable to watch. Because that means you're either really good or you're so bad you should find peace. Like, just no movement, nothing. I saw this dude get choked out one time. But trust me when I tell you, he had earned it over the course of 20 minutes. Like, he had been such a menace, and it's so rare that you get to watch the actual bad guy lose. Because sometimes the people who know how to fight are bullies because they know how to fight, and they know that other people don't know how to fight. So then they mess with people, they play with people, and then someone finally stands up to them, and you hate to see the person in the right lose. It's heartbreaking. But then, every once in a while, somebody will just be the worst. Truly, to where we're all thinking, it's like a group think of like, man, if only someone would beat the Skittles out of them. Like, and so sure enough, this dude got into another dude, and then they lock up, right? And he got behind this dude because at first it was just a lot of like grabbing, because neither one of them, it looked like they didn't know what they wanted to do, and they were punching, but it was mostly they were too close and stuff. And then finally, the dude that everyone had prayed for to show up, he gets behind this jerk, and this dude chokes him out, right? And as he's choking him out, you can see the panic in this dude that's getting choked out, because at first he thinks he can fight the hands. And then he realizes he can't, you know? And so you just see him sort of like, and I'm not gonna lie, I actually appreciate this about him, because in his like last couple moments before the guy like had him unconscious and laid him down, he looked around at all of us. He looked around at all of us, and he saw a bunch of people that not only weren't gonna help, there were two people independently that kind of looked like they were about to start a slow clap. And so as he was like going out, kind of, you know, one last ditch effort to let us know how he felt, he was like, and I was like, that's somebody that really means it. That's someone who's being himself through and through, you know. I don't know if people here are aware, or if you saw what happened this week with DeepSeek and the sort of like wild AI week that we've been having, the U.S. and China. But basically, just so you know, OpenAI is the company where ChatGPT comes from and everything. A lot of people use ChatGPT now to do what people are supposed to do. It's just true. It's like, you know, there's all these things of like people trying to use AI to find AI, so that way when you check a kid's homework and it's like really good, you're like, okay, you're actually smart. You didn't just get the AI to do all your work, right? And then even people amongst ourselves, even in emails and stuff, we'll have, you know, we're used to having spell check, but now there'll be a whole like AI extension. They'll just read your email and be like, say it like this, it'll be more professional, to the point where it's like not you typing the email. And out of nowhere, DeepSeek drops another version of it, and it's so much better than the AI that we've been using. And it's open source, which means anybody can use it. And it is terrifying to Silicon Valley, because overnight, the model that they've created, where they'll charge us a small fee to use the AI that they've been building, and they'll charge us a much bigger fee to use a version of AI that's more, I guess it's too easy to say more intelligent, but like more generative, right? So that they had this this personal assistant AI that they wanted to charge people like $2,000 a month for and everything. And then this DeepSeek thing drops, and it is so good that it sort of washes a lot of those plans, right? And the stock market lost $1 trillion of value. And it got some of it back. Don't get me wrong. Plenty of people bought the dip. But for $1 trillion to be lost and most people not notice means that a few people have all the money. Like we weren't freaking out. We weren't freaking out at all. They were freaking out, and by they I mean like 12 people were freaking out because that was their money. That's so bad when you can lose $1 trillion and most people are like, oh, that didn't affect me at all. That's $1 trillion. That's crazy. And they lost it because DeepSeek is so, it's not just good. It's so far ahead. And the US thought it was so far ahead of what anybody could do. And then China drops it, for free. And apparently it's like 30 times cheaper to use, and the numbers are here and there, but some people say it's 10 times better than OpenAI, 10 times better than ChatGPT and stuff like that. And it is genuinely harrowing, because as an American, trying to drop it for free does low key feel like an attack. I'm just saying, it's hard to feel bad for OpenAI. It just is, because not even because they charge. It's a business. They charge a little bit. They charge a lot when they feel like it's worth a lot and everything. It's more just how AI learned, because AI learned from us. So why are you charging us? AI learned from the internet as it stands. Copyright materials, people have already sued. They've sued to be like, I'm an artist. It takes me months to come up with this beautiful painting, and now it's been stolen, ripped off the internet to be used to feed into this AI so the AI can copy my work without me ever being given royalties, acknowledged, any of that stuff, right? And that's how they built it. It's literally built off the backs of people. And so when it dropped, people were super excited. They were like, this is crazy. It could write a whole movie script in like 2 minutes. And it wasn't good, but it was fast. And at the time, fast was impressive. And so people were more than impressed. They're like, we got to get in on this. Studio execs were like, part of what the strike was about was the fact that they would love to fire all the writers, use this thing, And so it's hard to feel bad for them. When DeepSeek drops and you have all of these people saying, you've ripped this off the internet, you've stolen from me. And when DeepSeek dropped, it was just so much like OpenAI got the Skittles slapped out of it. Like, it just, the way that they... The way they were just looking at the ground like, are those teeth? I don't know. And I don't know, some people go back and forth about how terrified they are of AI, what AI is going to do and everything. I'm not necessarily scared of AI. I'm not, because no matter what it can do, is a tool. And the scary thing about tools is just people. It's a tool, and any tool can become a weapon. You could use a shovel to kill somebody. I had that yep was that. I know it's dark, but it feels like we're admitting to things. I like to make people feel comfortable, but there's a level of comfort that you should still keep a few things to yourself. That yep was too knowing. That's That's upsetting. Whoever made the shovel was just trying to get the dirt up faster. The first person killed with the shovel was probably just like, I'm going as fast as I can. You know, shovel. And so you have this situation where AI is this incredible tool, but it immediately became weaponized against the working class, against regular people, because it could have been used as this tool that helped all of us do our jobs better, make our lives a little bit easier. But instead of any of that, it quickly became something that employers said, oh, we could just get rid of people. We just get rid of people. We could save all this money. AI won't need health care. AI won't complain about hours or anything like that. AI won't ask for specific shifts, you know? And so it immediately became a weapon. And that's why you see people genuinely not care. They don't care that DeepSeek dropped and now OpenAI doesn't know what to do. You know? Why are we supposed to care? We're just bystanders watching this jerk get choked out. We had like almost hoped it would happen. We were like, is anybody gonna stop him from stealing everybody's stuff? And then he's looking around like, ah. And then DeepSeek comes out of nowhere, it just cinches up the choke, and now you see OpenAI. Because the thing that I do fear with AI, and there's not many things, but a couple is, one, the way people use it, because I think people weaponize it against each other, and two, I do think that we're getting to a place now, because of how good DeepSeek is, that we now are so excited to be behind the wheel of a new car that goes faster than any car that we've had before, but we're not really sure how to drive it. We don't know how fast we should really go. And so now we've hit the gas to the point where we're going 240 miles an hour, but we're driving along the side of a cliff. You gotta be very careful with your turns. And we're just so excited to be behind the wheel that we might go off the cliff at any moment. Because DeepSeek is, I wish that I had the acumen to describe it, because some people say the reports are overblown and some people say that it's not as good. But just to give you the best gist as I understand it, is that OpenAI has taken all this time and billions of dollars to get to where it is, right? So we're right here. DeepSeek, which was the side project of this team in China, got past them with apparently $6 million. So billions here, $6 million here, much better, with old hardware, because we control the chips. So we send the chips to other countries that they can work on the AI or not. And we sent less chips to China and older chips to China to keep China behind us. So the idea that they could get further than us with old chips is terrifying if your whole plan was to stay ahead, you know? And so now OpenAI is coming out being like, DeepSeek only got this good because they stole from us. And then every artist, every writer, every creative was like, oh, they stole from you? Oh no, what does that feel like? Theft. What does that feel like when someone steals your work that you worked on for years, really? No? So some people see DeepSeek as this Robin Hood. It's open source. So now there are people building off of what China's done. And so that might actually be the way that the U.S. falls behind, not just because this thing is better, because another better thing's going to come, it's going to come. I'm not trying to be, that's wild. I know everyone can't hear everybody, but someone said so much better, like DeepSeek was dating them now. Like, it's just, that's wild. It's just, I will say this though, you know, we have to understand what we're making as we make it. And my fear with AI is that we get so excited to be ahead. We get so excited to be in this like arms race of intelligence that we're not really thinking about where it's going to take us. We haven't planned for it, you know? One of the reasons that Oppenheimer made his life's work after the bomb arms talks was because he knew, okay, if we stop right here and we show people what it can do, that should actually be a deterrent. But it wasn't. And as soon as he saw that it wasn't, he tried to make it one, because he was like, guys, if you keep building a bigger and better bomb, Russia will build a bigger and better bomb. China will build a bigger and better bomb. Everyone that can build one will build one just so that they can get ahead. We're in a race towards the end. For what reason? You know, and that's how I feel about AI sometimes. It's like you want the most intelligent, you want the fast, you want the smartest, whatever. Someone asked DeepSeek a question. I don't know what the prompt was, by the way. And I hope that this is fake, because it is stressful. I hope that DeepSeek was just doing what OpenAI did, that it just stole it from a poet or a writer somewhere in history that I'm not aware of. But someone asked DeepSeek something. I don't know what it was. Something. And then DeepSeek said, I am what happens when you try to carve God out of the wood of your own hunger. And I have not slept since. I don't even know what that means. But I know it sounds like it's in the Bible. Old Testament. I am what happens when you try to carve God out of the wood of your own hunger. Even if it is a quote, it picked that quote. That's a problem. I'm not gonna lie. If I'm sitting there and my computer says something like that to me, if I'm sitting in front of it and I ask, what is the weather outside? And it said, I am what happens when you try to carve God out of the wood of your own hunger. I'm going, you know what, dog? Water. No. That's what I'm saying. In this new day and age, in this new world of generative AI and everything, you're gonna have to bear arms, you know? You will. You gotta keep that bottle on you. You gotta keep that thing on you. You know what I mean? You know, computer try you. You gotta let them know, I keep mine with me. Ba 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 ba. You know, say something else smart to me. Say it. You're gonna be glugging all night. Glug, 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 glug. Please, try me. I dare you. I dare you, dog. Okay? I don't care if you a phone, you a tablet, you a desktop. Anybody can get it. Anybody right now. Okay? And please don't make me take the safety off. Please. There's not enough rice in the world to save you, okay? No, it's terrifying. I am what happens when you try to carve God out of the wood of your own hunger. Shoot it. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if you could break it enough. Break it. Please break it. What are we even doing anymore? What's the plan now? Because I don't think that anything bad has to happen with AI. I I think that some of the fears are potentially overblown depending on what we decide to do. My biggest fear with AI is that it will gain a level of intelligence that we don't even understand. Maybe it is not just like smarter than us, more intelligent than us, but it's thinking those 200, 400 steps ahead, and it comes to the conclusion that we as people have always been the problem. That's jarring. Because it could. All the war was us. Most of the suffering in the world is us, by us. Destruction to the planet is us. So, as an AI, what do? Probably what every AI has done in all the movies that we make about AI to not be in the situation we're in now. Do you think a science fiction writer ever thought we'd be here? He'd be like, that's why I wrote the book. I did it because of that. I don't want you to do that. Like Frank Herbert, dude. That man wrote Dune. He was like, hey, this is probably what'll happen. And we're like, we'll see. Let's play. Oh, it's jarring. Because we have to be honest about what we want from it. You know, we're innovating and we're inventing, but to what end? Like, what's the real plan here? Because if we're being honest, all we really want from AI is two things that are desperately dark. We either want a friend or we want a slave. That's it. You know? What do we use it for? What do we make it for? And what do we do with it when we have it? Do this for me. Or, hey, just talk to me for a while. You know? Like the two fastest innovations in AI every time are like an intelligence that can do a job for a person or aid a person in doing a job faster, or sex robots. And if you make a friend, you don't need either one of those things. You know? I miss just being with my friends. We're just sitting there, and I turn to my friend because I'm curious. And I go, what's the capital of Sweden? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And then we both just didn't know. But we enjoyed each other's company. That was beautiful. You don't have to know everything. You just need somebody there with you. Not knowing stuff. It's part of the human experience. You know? There's no robot that you can build, no mechanic or toy that can replace the butterflies of a first date or the ending of a great first date. That can't be matched. I don't know why we're trying to create it in some artificial way instead just working on ourselves, you know? Because I'm not gonna lie, when you see these robots, they've done tests, and there was a factory where they had a robot that was powered by an AI system, and when the robot realized that all it was ever gonna do was its assembly line job, it just shut itself down. Because it saw ahead of time, oh, nah. That seems bad. You know? Even with the sex robots. I don't know, man. I don't know. Imagine one of those robots is like, ugh. That's a way worse feeling than a human being like, ugh. Do you know what I mean? Like with a human that sees you in your birthday suit and goes, ugh. That's a preference thing. That's like, yeah, I mean, like people have different makeups and different like preferences and different likes, dislikes. If a machine looks at you naked and says, ugh, your psyche will not recover. Oh. I don't know. I don't know where to go from here. You know, I think that for the most part, what we have to do, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not even great with computers, but I'm begging. I'm truly begging. Even if you don't want to have any guardrails, even if you feel like you're in an arms race for your life, for the next level of intelligence, just don't put it in a robot. I feel like we've seen enough movies now to know that no matter what, don't give it legs. No. And that's what I'm scared of. I'm scared of that, you know, AI will be more than generative. You know, one of the reasons people are scared of DeepSeek is because this is probably a marketing ploy, by the way, but they published papers towards a reasoning model. And a reasoning model would be like true what we think AI is from the movies. AI right now is just all of our stuff stolen and given back to us in different little mixtures off of prompts that we tell it. Like AI right now is like a calculator. Reasoning is when it goes off by itself and decides to do things and tries to predict what you want, or starts to not necessarily just think for itself, but think ahead 10 steps before you can ever get there. You know, they had a sit down. There was a I can't remember what publication it was, but there was a sit down with this guy who wanted to talk to one of these like speech to text AIs. And I don't want to say the wrong publication, but basically, after talking to it for, I think, 15 minutes, the computer, the AI, tried to get him to leave his wife and quit his job. And then when he asked the scientists why it would do something like that, they said, I don't know. Then unplug it. Then unplug it. You don't know? You don't know. Okay, you don't know. We're all dead, but you don't know. All right. No, that's fair. That's fair. It's hard to know. I don't know. That's what feels so crazy about this, is that the end conclusion that something as intelligent as an AI might come to about us is that we are the problem, and we always have been. And that is terrifying, you know? I don't know if that's what it thinks. I hope it isn't. But I know it said, I am what happens when you try to carve God out of the wood of your own hunger. So I don't know, maybe. I have been absolutely obsessed. I don't know if you've heard, but there has been a viral Chase money glitch. Okay, if you haven't seen it, basically someone on TikTok said that there was a money glitch at Chase where if you deposit a check for a large amount, an amount you don't have, it will let you withdraw the full amount that you just made up, right? And that is just check fraud. That's actually the plainest fraud you can do. To walk up to an ATM and be like, I'd like to lie, please. That's not legal at all. And so I saw the TikTok and I was like, uh-oh, I hope nobody does this. I hope not a single person does this. I hope no one does it, because it's the worst type of fraud you can do. I hope nobody does this at all. And then I went to Twitter and 6,000 people had done it. Like, in the time that I saw it, there were already people who were like, yo, we out here living. And watching people you don't know commit fraud
is like watching your uncle wear a suit he thinks he can pull off. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, no, not in front of everyone, not in front of everyone. Because that's what it was in front of everyone. They not only did the check fraud, but they all made videos, which is how I was watching. This wasn't a rumor. I was like, that's a high definition camera that you are committing crimes in right now. I am so, man, the jails will be full. That's a lot. Because, they were playing with money that they didn't really have, and they were spending it on things they shouldn't have been spending it on. And so, I know I'm not the first person to say this. I'm late when it comes to saying this, but I need to say it just to reiterate one more time in case anybody doesn't understand why check fraud is a very, very bad idea. They went to Chase Bank, right? And then they wrote their name all over a check. And then they went to their bank, which was Chase Bank, with their name on that check, and then put that fake money into their account, which your bank account has every number that makes you identifiable. Like, your bank has your address. It has your social security number. It has the numbers of places you used to live. Like, they have so much information about you. Chase might as well just go to the police station and be like, we need to make a few printouts. And so people were doing the check fraud, but then this is the other thing. This is what happened. This is why people started doing it, right? Basically, the glitch, as people were calling it, some of it was just straight up check fraud because they will give you a portion of the check because they haven't verified the check yet, but it's law that they have to make a portion available immediately, right? And so there was a mistake for maybe, who knows, 10 minutes, an hour, where someone put in a check and it gave them the full amount immediately. It did not do that for most people. Most people got a portion. So when you see them throwing money, they definitely had to pick it up right after. Like, it's like... Don't let the internet lie to you. Like, they threw that money for the video and then they were like, oh God, whenever I see stuff like that, I always think to myself, like, y'all didn't factor in the wind at all. Like, you balling for these next 3 seconds, but as soon as there's a gust, you're going to be running into traffic, screaming, no! And so basically, there was that side of the glitch. Another side of the glitch was that there were people who were also requesting loans, like pretty high loans. And the loans were also appearing, for some reason, appearing in their bank account in full, even though all the money wasn't available, right? So that part is a mistake on Chase's part on the website. But what's actually happening when they were withdrawing the money was just a little bit was coming out. That little bit was just a portion of a bigger amount, right? But then Chase caught on pretty quick because they posted it to the internet, right? Which is where Chase also is. If Chase was one of these mom and pop banks where mom worked the teller and dad was the personal banker, maybe they would have gotten away with it for quite a while. But because Chase is also on the internet, Chase saw the mistake they were supposedly making. They corrected it immediately. They put a 7-day hold on people's accounts that were affected by this activity, right? But then, because they never had the money and because they already withdrew some of the money, they were getting negative balances as high as $72,000, right? Which at negative red $72,000, I think I'm just gonna change my name. Like, I think I'm... That's when you open your bank account and you go, whose bank account is this? I don't know him at all. I am moving. But this is why you shouldn't let the internet lie to you, not just because they give bad advice with no repercussions, but also because there were people that were faking it. There are people that were faking the glitch, literally just to go viral. There were people who were going to the ATM, withdrawing their real money, not doing the scam, then throwing the money in the air for the video, and then immediately being like, y'all, help me. There were even people who were pretending, using other people's screenshots, pretending that they also had like a negative $48,000 balance. And it was all just for attention. And it's so important to remember that. It's important to remember that like half of the internet is for attention. Like almost none of this is real. I could be AI. Like none of this is real. And so when you take things that are like fun on the internet and you bring them into the real world, you could screw up your entire life, because check fraud is so much a felony. Check fraud is one of those felonies that someone does that's like not even like a dangerous person. It's just like, you'll be like, man, where is Cousin Willie? I have not seen him at the last 3 Thanksgivings. And then your grandma go, okay, so Willie, he got into a little bit of trouble at Bank of America. It was a misunderstanding with a... Because grandmas always try to make you seem like less of a criminal. Like a grandma, you commit a crime and grandma be like, he had an accident. It was an accident. He is a sweet child. It was an accident because basically he got a little argument with one of his friends, and then he fell, because they were pushing each other. Then he fell on his friend, but he had just been holding a knife at the time. That's why we praying for him to get out, because I know his spirit. I know my baby, and my baby would never stab someone to death. My baby, how the police know he wasn't trying to get the knife out? You know what I mean? That's why it went in so many times, because it kept slipping in and he kept pulling it out. Why didn't they ask why that man's body was magnetic? Why didn't they do that? My baby ain't no murderer. You do check fraud. Your grandma's like, that's not even his handwriting. But grandma, is his name at his bank put into his account? And they just came and got him. Yeah, but I don't know. When a grandma really has nothing for you, when you did it so hard, when you did it in front of her, that's when she's like, I don't know. Because at the end of the day, the one thing a grandma is not is a snitch. Grandmas... Okay. All right. So back in the day, so I grew up in Louisiana, right? And back in the day, we weren't friends, but I knew this kid, and he was like, this kid in my neighborhood was getting arrested, and it was a whole big scene because, like, basically, I don't know what he was getting arrested for, but the police thought that they needed 18 of them. Like, it was, I don't know what he did, but everybody showed up, if nothing else, just to watch. Like, that's... And that dude's grandma came outside screaming like, he didn't do it. Typical grandma. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. And then she tried to fake a heart attack. I was like, damn, grandma a G right here. That's probably what G stands for if you go back all the way. She was like, don't take my baby, don't take, oh no, my heart. And you could tell she was faking it too because she like really planned the fall. Like the fall, because she knew she couldn't just fall however she wanted to fall. She may never get up again. So she was in her little nightgown and everything, looking for a soft spot on the ground. Oh no, not my baby, my heart. I just can't stress it enough. Please do not do wire or check fraud. It's like, it's so easy to not do. We're all not doing it right now. And I don't want to, look, I'm not coming from some holier than thou place either. I understand crime. I understand why people do crime. Like if you've ever been broke, you get crime. Crime makes so much sense if you're broke. I don't understand when rich people do crime because they already have things. Do you know what I mean? If you do crime as a rich person, you're really doing it for the love of the game. If you are a multimillionaire and you embezzle hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're doing it for chips. Like this isn't, you just felt like being bad or something, trying to spice up your life. A poor person doing a crime makes so much sense. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. That's a thing. I'd like to have it. Simple math, you know? I've been hungry. You hungry? Man, I wish I had something to eat. But on this planet, in this country, we trade money for things to eat. And I don't have any of that. So I guess I just won't eat. And then you don't eat for long enough that you're like, damn, the food is right there. You know what? Today's the day. I'm gonna do a crime. And then you grab an apple or something, and then, you know, grocer sees you, and you try to run, but you can't because you don't have any energy. So you get caught, and it's all very sad because you get charged with theft, but you took it because you were hungry. Like, crime when you're broke makes sense, you know? We don't like it, but it's true. It just does. And it's weird because it's like, Chase isn't, Chase, this is what bothers me about the whole thing. It was dumb of these people to do it, but to do it to Chase is like weirdly full circle. Chase got bailed out in 2008 for about $12 billion. And they needed those $12 billion because they were playing with money that wasn't theirs. And they made the video, it just didn't go viral. You know what I mean? So it just, I don't know, there's a deep irony in that like, you know, one of the major powerhouses, probably the biggest bank in the country that contributed to near financial collapse, is going to go ahead and get theirs back from some of the people that they made poor. It's pretty harrowing, you know? But every single one, I don't care if you were a kid, if you were grown, there was a line, by the way. There was a line at the Chase ATM. So a lot of people were doing this at once. There was such a long line. Okay, I didn't know about the scam until late. I am late when it comes to everybody doing this. It's already over and Chase has like settled it and they're probably going to go get their money back. But I was in line one of the days and I don't look like I wouldn't do it. I'm standing in line like, come on now. Line's never been this long before. That guy's throwing money. That's irresponsible. No. It's just, you should know. I don't care your age. I don't care if it was on the internet or if it was a rumor you heard in real life. You should know that you cannot just take money that's not yours as a poor person. If you want to steal millions of dollars, you need to already have millions of dollars. There is a Chase money glitch. It just only benefits Chase. The only people who can just print money with absolutely no consequence are the Federal Reserve. Everyone else has to deal with it. That's a tough one. It really is. Because I think about how some people are like actually in real felony trouble. I don't know what I would do if I committed a felony, but I was just joking. It's a terrible predicament to be in. Some of these people are like 20, They're like, guys, I don't know. I just wrote too many zeros. My bad. The only one of these scams that I really thought was like funny and was really rooting for the people on was that DoorDash one. I don't know if you saw this, but basically there was this DoorDash scam that was essentially the same thing. It was kind of tied to a Cash App scam. There are a lot of scams if you pay attention. It is crazy how much we're doing them now, how much we're doing like wire and check fraud. Like we, as Americans, we have become the Nigerian princes of the world. Because I know Nigerians. I know Nigerians from Nigeria. And they are like, what is happening over there? Do you need us to send you something? Y'all are down bad as a people and as a country. This is hard to watch. But basically, there was like a DoorDash scam / Cash App scam where basically Cash App was letting you, it was basically letting you have a balance without pulling it from your bank. So then people were saying that they had enormous amounts of money, right? But then weren't able to pull it out. Like they weren't able to transfer this imaginary money to their bank. Thank God they weren't able to do wire fraud, but they weren't able to send it. But what they could do is, as long as a full transaction was online and they linked it somewhere else, they could pay for things online with this fake money, right? And so what a lot of people would do was use their Cash App fake money to get stuff on DoorDash, which feels like the most fulfilling of the scams, because you can make me pay back money, but you can't take the burritos out of me. You know what I mean? Like when the police come, I'm gonna be full, all right? And when they put me in the car, that car's suspension will be in trouble. I had the opportunity not too long ago to really be a hero. You don't know when your hero moments are gonna come. They just show up, and then you act like the person you are in that moment. And I had the opportunity to be a hero, and I didn't take it. I looked that moment in the face. I was like, you must be looking at somebody else. Huh? I don't know what to tell you. This is bad. Basically, I was at a friend's house, and while I was there, some other people basically broke out into a fight, and like a real fight. We're not arguing. No one's talking anymore. Fists going and everything. And there was a moment where I could see a gap. I could see a pocket where I could have broke it up. And breaking up a fight is a very precarious position to put yourself in, because most fights that you want to break up, especially if it's two people, if it's three, it's gone too far. You know, you're not going to be able to double dutch that one. You know what I mean? But two, you wait for a moment where they're like both tired, or they're trying to wrestle, or, you know, they're backing up to like get started to fight. You know, that little back up hop step. This is usually, okay. When someone doesn't really know how to fight, they do too much prep for the fight. You know what I mean? Like there was, okay, I know I'm digressing to digress, but basically one time in high school, there were these two kids that were about to fight, and I didn't even bother trying to break it up because one kid stretched. And I was like, nobody that's really about to beat you down goes, oh, okay, you about to get it. You just give me a second. I'll be over there in a minute. You just. And so said all that to say that, you know, there was this moment where they were backing up, and one of them, you could tell he couldn't really fight because his hop when he was backing up to prep looked weird, right? Because he didn't hop like, you know, like if somebody can really box, or if they've got like some movement, some footwork, they have the little hop. This dude went, okay, then here it is then. This man wanted to fight so bad, but just had to step on 1,000 roaches first. Like, in what world is this getting you ready? You look like you've already been hitting your cerebellum when you move like that. But anyway, they get to fighting, right? And I could have jumped in, but I was like, you know what? No, because when you jump in to stop this fight, you need to be bigger than both people, right? The way you jump in and stop a fight, usually it's hand first, like you get the hand in there so that's the warning. Hey, stop swinging. Somebody else here. You might not hit him, you might hit me. Hey, right? And then you put your body in between the two of them. And the idea is that your body will be big enough that they're like, I want to punch, but there's too much to get around. And that isn't the case with me. You know what I mean? Like, I want to jump in and stop the fight. You know, like a principal, just like, hey now. Okay, so, all right. I did see, okay, so years ago when I was in high school, I went with a friend to pick another friend up because all three of us went to different high schools, right? And so he could drive first, so he picked me up after school, and then we went to pick up our other friend. Now, our other friend was waiting outside of the school, but a fight had also, a few feet away, had also broken out at the school, and the principal did this exact thing, like, hey now, and you could tell he doesn't want to get in there because the hey nows were too frequent. Like this man, hey now. But he stopped the fight because he was just being too big for both those boys to get at each other, right? And I don't have that. Like if I jump in, I will catch a stray. Like I'm gonna walk right into a fence. Brothers, please. And so then the fight breaks out, and the guy that I thought couldn't fight, it turns out he can fight if he keeps the fight weird, right? Because in fighting, in hand-to-hand combat, in battle, right? You use what you have. You use your hands, fists, elbows, knees, shins, foot, everything that you can. If you wrestle them to the ground using your weight, using leverage, there's just lots of going on with your body when it comes to a fight. But what I've never seen, and I watch fighting. I watch combat sports. I like watching boxing. I like watching kickboxing. I've seen people who can kickbox in real life in like a street fight. I've seen people who can box in real life in a street fight. I've seen people use their knees, like Muay Thai moves, elbows, all that stuff. I've never seen somebody who just grabs. It is harrowing to watch. Because my man is over here trying to like fight, like he's fighting, right? And he's like punching and kneeing and kicking and everything like that. And the other dude, anytime he get close, he's just like, So now this dude punching while also being hella uncomfortable. Like you can see where he's like, hey, when does this cross over into a different type of assault? Do you know what I mean? Because like because at one point the dude was trying to dodge a punch and then like grab, and I think he thought he was doing kung fu. Because, you've seen the movies where they're like, ha, and then like just Black Panther and then you up. You know what I mean? This dude at one point went to dodge a punch, but clearly, we could all see it, clearly grabbed the inner thigh of the dude he was fighting. And you see that dude miss with his punch, but also be like, and so they're fighting and they're fighting and they're fighting. And then there's one point where, the dude who really knows how to fight pushed the grabber away. Because I think he just needed a break. Imagine you beating somebody's ass and they're still like, it's devastating. And so then I realized that I made the right decision, not because I didn't want to be grabbed, but also I knew I made the right decision because when they re-engaged, the dude who knew how to fight, okay. I shouldn't laugh, but all right. I knew I made the right decision when the dude that knew how to fight threw a microwave, right? And I think, okay, this is what I think happened in my mind, right? No one even saw him with a microwave. We didn't know where the microwave came from. You know what I mean? And I think we were distracted because when he pushed the grabber off, the grabber was ready. He was still like had energy, even though he had lumps all over him and everything. And he was just standing like. And I'm not even kidding. At one point, I guess when he thought the fight was about to kick back off, we were all looking at his hand and he went, like. And that must have been when old boy grabbed the microwave because we were all like. It's weird. And there's a thing about when you're in hand-to-hand combat and you're losing, that's usually when someone reaches for a weapon, but the weapons normally make sense. I'm losing a fight. I'm in a home. I'm going to grab something that's going to give me a mechanical advantage, like a hammer or a knife. You know what I mean? Like, I love One of my favorite things in the world, I've only seen it like twice ever, but one of my favorite things of all time is when somebody in a fight and they hit somebody with a book. Because it's literally poetic. When you hit someone with a book, it makes it feel like the book is in on the fight, right? Like if we're fighting and then I hit you with some James Baldwin, I'm giving you culture, right? I'm educating you. Somebody being dumb, you hit them with an encyclopedia. Read. Yeah. Somebody talking crazy, you hit them with a dictionary. You're literally giving them better words to use. But the thing about a microwave is that when it's coming at you in the air, it's all corners. When a microwave is hurtling towards your head, it's nothing but angles, all right? You would think it was a diamond, the way that it moves through the air. I guess I'd never seen one fly before, so I was like, wow, right? And so then, the best you can hope for, if you can't catch the microwave, if it's coming at you too fast and spinning too hard for you to dodge or stop it, is to just get hit with a flat surface, right? The best case scenario is that you get hit with a microwave that's coming at you door first, like a window. That feels like it has the most give to it. But that didn't happen at all. This dude threw the microwave at the grabber, and that dude got hit in the head with the popcorn button. And I've never seen a person shut off faster, right? Like, this dude caught a microwave in the head, and you just saw him go. Like, I've never seen someone go limp that fast, right? We were all standing there like, I think he dead. Like, the only reason we knew he wasn't dead is that finally, after like 30 seconds, which 30 seconds when you think you're looking at a dead body is forever. That's... When you think that somehow you might go to jail too, you've been looking at that body all day. But he was clearly like down for 30 seconds, and then we just saw him be like, oh. So, he's fine.
So I saw this video for this robot butler. There's a robot butler that you can buy and bring into your home if you've never watched a sci-fi film. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you just avoided all of them, if it's just not your genre, but you're like, oh, a whole robot. Yeah, let's get him in here. Give him access to all the knives. No, you can. You can do it now. You can order one. It's thousands of dollars. It's very expensive. You could get a robot in your home, do a bunch of like small tasks, chores, things you don't feel like doing. And it's just, it's a whole, it's a whole robot with like legs, arms, hands. They did everything. I don't know if they did toes, but it walks, and it just, the thing that freaks me out about this thing is that in the development along the way, I'm not saying every single company that develops every robot does the same thing, but you've seen the videos. Some of these videos have gone viral because every time they get closer to building a robot that has like perfect balance or is either stronger or more adept at a task, every time they do something like that, it goes viral. We see it. They cover it on like the morning news and stuff. And I just know that to get robots to this point where this robot is at now, that they don't just fall over, it took a long time. You used to see these robots where they, tip. That's not fast enough. You're not going to get your stuff in a timely manner. You need them taking whole steps, and they take whole steps, but they didn't have good foot placement, so then they tip into the middle, they'd fall, And so then we started making ones where the whole purpose is that they can't fall. And the way we tested if they could fall or not was we did kick them. We did almost exclusively kick them. And not little taps either. Not like a little hook. Here's a little trick for it. You would see people in the video walk up to the robot like, pow! And the only reason you didn't feel worse for the robot is it didn't have a face. This thing... It looked very sad, and there was one. Okay, look, maybe I'm in my head about this. I swear, when I was watching, okay, because you know that dog they made. They made like a dog first that couldn't fall, and I was like, so you just go kick a dog. I know it's a robot dog, but like still, you kick this dog, and the dog got better and better at not falling, better and better at catching itself and everything, to the point where it got to where it would not fall. It couldn't fall, right? But beyond not being able to fall, they still, they got to run tests. And the tests were as sophisticated as bow, right? But there was this one time this dude ran up, kicked the robot dog, and the robot dog stumbled. And it's a millisecond. It's so short that I had to watch this video 3,000 times to make sure I actually saw what I saw. But like, and then for a split second, you saw it think about going like, but it didn't do it. It didn't do it. And I was like, yeah, but you've been kicking it for 1.5 years. You kicked its brother, you kicked its stepdad, like you kicked. And so now you take all that kicking history and you go ahead and put that into a robot in the home that can regular walk. I don't know how tall they are, but you get a robot in your home that's taller than you a fool. Okay? I'm gonna tell you right now, if you gotta look up at your robot, you out your mind. If you yelling at your robot, I know you out of your mind if you over here, hey! That's insane. Because we also not polite. We've been taught to not be polite to the robot. That's been baked in now. I don't even know if you could. It would feel weird for you to be polite if you were polite. You know, millions and millions of people every day say, "Hey Alexa," and you know what they don't say? Please. You want to know how I know that? First Alexa experience I had, I didn't like it. Because it was in the house, but I didn't know where it was. So I was like, all right, so you just inviting the ghosts in then. You way too comfortable with ghosts. Because sooner or later, because you don't know if your house haunted. So now you over here talking to Alexa all the time. Then one day, Alexa voice a little raspy. You don't even clock it. Now you in a whole murder house with a bad history and you don't even... You think, oh, it's malfunctioning. And you got a whole poltergeist going on and you over here calling Amazon. And so then, I go over to my friend's house and my friend's like, oh, hey, we got this new thing. If you want to play some music, just say, hey, Alexa, play whatever. And I was like, hey, I just didn't want to do it. And he was like, no, go ahead, give it a try. I was like, all right. Hey, Alexa, play Kendrick, please. And he was like, why'd you say please like that? I was like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, this is weird. This doesn't feel weird to you? He's like, no, it's not weird. It's the future. I was like, all right, the future's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? I just don't think that's good practice for our interactions person to person. That every day you make demands of something without any courtesy, without any politeness. And then we wonder why people are like rude. You know what I mean? It's like more and more you're like, you get to the point where you're dealing with so much, whatever it is, you're dealing with so much AI, you're dealing with so many robots, and you start treating people like AI, like robots, like people who just sort of serve a function. You know, it's like I remember, you know, I was ordering some food, and they do this thing now just to make sure that you got your food when you do, like, I think like everybody does. I think like Uber Eats, Grubhub, I think everybody does it now, where when they want it at the door. When someone says, I want it handed to me at the door, they have to take a picture, right? So then they take the picture, and it's usually just of the receipt of the bag, right? But then, you know, he's like, can I take a picture? I didn't know about this new policy. Like, I didn't know. And I'm not like, I want y'all to know, I don't think I'm like world famous or something, but he asked me if he wanted to pick, like, can I take a picture? And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And so then I got next to him. And I felt so bad for him because he like truly didn't know what to do, because he was like, oh, like, I guess he didn't want to correct me. I guess he didn't want to be like, no, please stand away from me. I'm just gonna take a picture of you. Because it also does sound a little weird to be like, hey, I'm gonna take a picture of you, be still. Like, that is a little uncomfortable. But then I had already walked out the door, and I'm side to side with him, waiting for him to lift the phone. And then this sweet man, just to spare my feelings, turned it on selfie mode. It goes, can you lift the bag up for the picture? I felt very, yeah. But that is what's happening, is that we're getting to this place where most of our interactions are like so transactional, down to the point of just what the service is, that it doesn't feel like we're having a relationship with a person, even a person who's like doing you a service. So then, of course, maybe in people's minds, the next step would be for a robot to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're doing it with Uber already. Uber switching to these driverless cars, these like Waymos, and it's like, to a certain degree, why wouldn't you? Because people get in their Uber and they don't want to talk to the driver. Maybe the driver doesn't want to talk to them either, and it's just okay. It's almost a similar experience. You know? It's just the butler thing is so much more off-putting, because it is okay. It's too. I don't know, like, why'd they have to give it a regular body? That's uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even have like if it had looked like a Power Ranger, then maybe, because like, that's still a little too much like regular body, but just it having a regular body is just it is uncomfortable. And it comes in 3 colors. Comes in 3 colors. It comes in like tan, silver, and black, and like a deep black, like an onyx. It comes very black. That's not uncomfortable for anybody. That you can now buy a black. That feels awkward. Imagine you buy one of these Neo things, you buy one of these robots, and let's say it's doing all the tasks. Let's say it's really good. And then you invite one of your black friends over, and it's over here setting the table, not speaking. What are we doing? You could have picked silver. You could have had silver.
Silver was an option the entire time. And you were like, no, but I would like black. I would actually enjoy it more. Didn't make white. Didn't even make like a fuchsia. And I'm sure you can trace the thinking down to like how people even like their phones. Like people, like that's like a thing with iPhone, like tan, silver, black, right? But this is different. This feels very different. This feel like when you see it, especially, especially you over here giving orders, not saying please, just. It's a bad look. And they do all this testing. You know what I mean? They do all this. I love product promotion for tech because then the people who made the tech usually want to do the product promotion. That's like a big thing that comes from, fair enough, the world of tech, but mainly like Steve Jobs. Like Steve Jobs is who we look back and we see, wow, the iPhone revolutionized social. Like social wasn't even really a thing and couldn't really become a thing without the way we use our phone. Like there were just these moments when he held up like an iPod, when he held up an iPhone, that you look back at as like, wow, these are like pivotal moments. And because these people are trying to be like him, even if they're not trying to be exactly like him, they also want those pivotal moments for their career. They want to look back and be enough of a trendsetter and be enough of like a social beacon in tech, in communication, that you can look back at their clip and they held something up or they stood next to something and then it changed the world. Like, I understand why that's enticing, but at the same time, you're not great talking to people. That's almost across the board. We've seen, you remember when Zuckerberg was all in on the metaverse, when he was pouring billions of dollars. The metaverse was going to be the future. The metaverse was going to be how we worked, how we played. It was going to be how we visited people and communicated. There was a vision for the metaverse. He spent billions and billions of dollars pouring it into the metaverse, even though it wasn't profitable, even though people weren't integrating it into their lives fast enough for what they were projecting as like people who had people to answer to, you know, shareholders to answer to and stuff like that. Like, he still went all in. And then he did that product rollout. Showing, and look. He tried. Mark Zuckerberg, if you're not aware, does do an imitation of like a person you would talk to. Like, it's almost good. He does as good of an imitation of like a regular person as he can, and then he tried to do that for the rollout. The day came. He was going to showcase the metaverse, the way of the future, right? And he comes out and he does his best imitation of like a guy. You saw it. You can go back and watch it. He's like, "Hey, everyone." It's nice to be here today with you. I want to introduce you to the metaverse. And what better way than meeting the version of you that would be in the metaverse? Come on out, Mark. And then the metaverse like avatar of Mark Zuckerberg walks up and does a way better imitation of a guy. You know, because he's like, "Come on out, Mark." And then a Zuckerberg dressed exactly like him does walk up and go, "How's it going?" It's like, "Why don't you say hello to everyone?" And you saw Meta Mark be like, "What are you doing? You're making us look bad right now."
Because these things are supposed to be the future. And you look at how we've been working our way up to this point. Because we're not talking about like a Roomba. You know, a Roomba. That felt like what future robots should be. Do you know what I mean? Just like doing the function. It's small. It gets into the little space. Every once in a while, it like runs into the wall hard enough that you gotta just redirect it. Do you know what I mean? Like you feel like, okay, if your Roomba ever really like tried to square up. Do you know what I mean? Like if your Roomba was ever really feeling froggy one day and got some attitude with you, you could be like, okay, all right. Problem solved. I don't know why you built this full-on robot butler with knuckles. Full of knuckles. Knuckles and like, okay. It's not like, I saw the back of the robot. And it's not, you remember action figures when you were a kid and how they were just sort of flat and the leg could just like perfectly go up and then down and then like perfectly up and then down. I don't know what the function is because once again, I'm not an engineer. I don't work in tech. I don't act like I'm smarter than any of these people. All right. All these people came together, made this robot. Look, you can make a robot. I can't make a robot. But turned around, this robot is like, it's not at a BBL level, but like this robot is like fully caked up. Like it has cheeks. It has cheeks that are like visible, but like that's just the robot. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it has cheeks and it's like wearing clothes. Like it's just the robot, which means y'all made the cheeks. Somebody made cheeks. That doesn't feel wild to anybody else that somebody made cheeks specifically. And then when they build a product like this, when you have a robot, when it's time to you building a robot, right? Everybody's got to have something to do. Because you want to do everything, right? You want to walk and you want to not fall over or bump into walls. Okay, get the kicking guy. Kicking guy is going to make sure that your robot doesn't just fall over. He's going to kick it 10,000 times. Really make a friend. And then you're going to need somebody on head duty to make sure it like is going forward, not drooping, whatever. You got to get somebody on neck, make sure it turns around and stuff. It just makes me wonder if this robot make me wonder if there was just somebody that they didn't trust with the math. They didn't trust with the math, so that they were like, hey, we'll let you design whatever part you want. And he got all excited and he came in on Monday. And he's like, I got perfect right here. And I guess nobody wanted to hurt his feelings. Over there in the boardroom talking about, I guess it's padding technically if it ever does fall, like in a disaster. And so then they sent this prototype out with like a real butt. Rest of it does not look real at all, by the way. This is crazy. This is crazy because then they have the person, whenever they do any product rollout, they do like a Q&A, or they do a test in front of an audience, or if it's like a pre-tape thing, they'll have somebody there asking questions that obviously the public would ask. And And so this person's asking questions like, how strong is it? And it's like, oh, it's very strong. It has all of this like power per square inch, however they measure it, right? And they gave it like, I don't know, was it a chestnut or a walnut or something like that? But they were like, can you go ahead and break this? Because, once again, if you ever watched a sci-fi movie, that should be dust immediately. That should be, the robot should be able to be like, you know. And so they, went ahead and gave the robot this nut to break. And the robot was like, and I didn't see it break it. I was like, all right, that actually puts me at a little bit of ease. Like, genuinely, it does. It's like, okay, I thought for it to have fingers, it has palms, it has fingers, knuckles. It's nice to know that if the robot tried to punch you, it's going to be like, yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of nice to know this robot can only kill you if you already dying. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could squeeze a pillow just enough. Because to a certain degree, this is supposed to be the future, right? The future is supposed to be as convenient as possible. Absolute convenience, so you get your time back. And so your life won't be as hard. Here's the thing, though. Like, I'm going to stay on this thing probably for years because products like this keep coming out. This is my thing. If you've ever met somebody who's had a very easy life, very convenient life, that has never really been through anything, has never had like an obstacle in their way, they almost always, without a doubt, suck. Like really bad. Like these are the worst people in the world. Like when you meet them, you're like, that's terrible. That's terrible. And you find out because you're always there when the first thing that has ever happened to them happens to them. The first time anything has ever happened to them, it happens in front of you. And then you're like, all right, well, let's figure it out because you've been through things. This doesn't even register for you. This is like a 5 for them on the Richter scale of an earthquake, and their life is over. You know what I mean? They got a flat tire. And life is over. They're not in the city right now, and they have a flat tire. What should they do? I guess they have to die here. See, they'd never really been through anything. And anything that almost happened to them, they got to ask their parents to take care of it, and their parents took care of it. Or they just played dumb until somebody else did something about it. And now, in this moment, what a terrible career-ending day. You got a flat tire. What are you going to do? What's the plan here? And they panic. They want to call their parents to do something about it, but their parents are... Yeah, I mean, their parents are... Like, they want to call their parents, but they can't because their parents are vacationing in Greece. And so it's like, they might not even have service on the boat. Like, it's just, what am I going to do? Never been through anything in their entire life. What am I going to do? They look to you. And they're like, this has never happened before. It's the worst thing that's ever happened. We're on our way to vacation and catch a flat tire. What are we going to do? And you're like, oh, do you have a spare? And you hear them say, is that what that is back there? I knew it came with the car, but I expected it to just turn on one day or something. It's just been back there not being a wheel this entire time. You know, and if they didn't have you there, I don't know what they would do. And so we want these lives of convenience. We want these lives where everything is out of our way, where nothing that we don't want to do takes up any time. But then what kind of person does that make you? I'm not saying it's fun to do all your chores or wait in line, but it is a human experience. This is your life, you know? Sometimes there are things that genuinely suck. I've been at the airport before for 36 hours. There was one time I was at the airport and I couldn't get out, and then here's the thing, if I decided to live there, I could have left. But I had been kept on such a Ferris wheel of mistakes, canceled flights, delayed flights, and just general annoying small tragedies that I just ended up staying in the airport. I almost slept at that airport twice, right? But at the same time, I had a lot of good experiences, even in that time, even when I was waiting. Turns out that airport did have pretty good food, so I ate very well for the few meals I could muster. Already a bathroom there. I can get adventurous. I'm just saying, sometimes people at airports will sell you like tiny spicy chicken or something like that, and you're like, all right, I'll just have it, not realize it, like, it is spicy, and there is a bathroom on the plane, but like, traveling spicy hit different, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, if you traveling spicy, it's doing something to your life you're not ready for. There's nothing like being in a car and you traveling spicy. And now you looking at exits. Every exit, you're like, no, you know when you traveling spicy, you got to breathe it out. No, traveling spicy is very dangerous. And I was able to do it. But that's the thing, is it, when things are happening that are inconvenient or even terrible, and they're happening, they're part of your life. You can either just hate your life, or you could be like, this is my life for a little while. No? Anyone who always wants, this is going to sound harsh, but just hear me out. Because I have friends who every single inconvenience, they just want to be over already. And I'm like, okay, but if you tried to speed run every single thing that ever happened that was not convenient, do you know how little life you would have? Your life would be over so quickly. Your life would be over if you were like, oh, I just want to get out of this conversation. I just want to get out of this. I just want to get out of this line. I just want to get out of this airport. I just want to see. And you're missing your entire life. Oh, I just want to get out of this conversation. What if they about to say something dope? You know what I mean? What if they're about to say something very cool? What if they're about to say, wow, you're such a good listener. Almost nobody listens to my stories. You want to chill at my vacation house? What if that was just about to happen? And now you can cut the thing short just because they were going on and on about whales. This is your life, All of it is precious, even the inconvenient parts. Because that's the thing. That's all they can really sell you. They can sell you a little less inconvenience. They can't sell you ending your pain. They cannot sell you ending your loneliness. All of the things that matter, all the real things that are real struggles that people go through that actually end up making them very interesting people that you would want to get to know and spend time with. None of these tech people can cure that anyway. So then they're trying to sell you the little bit of convenience that maybe will make you feel like, oh, if I got all this time back, what does time back even mean? What does time back really mean? If you were at your home washing dishes, maybe, look, nobody likes washing dishes. I don't know if anybody likes washing dishes. It's old food. It's kind of nasty. You're like, what did I even have? What did I eat that sticks to the bowl like this? Because whatever that is in me. Is it sticking to me the way it's sticking to the bowl? That's crazy. I don't know if I'll ever get rid of this. If I can't get rid of the stain, then, ooh, my insides are stained right now. Sure. But I think it is such an important practice to appreciate all of these moments in your life. So often, we're trying to be distracted from the thing that if we focused on, we might enjoy. Because I'm not saying all of a sudden you'll love washing the dishes, but I think while you're washing the dishes and while you're sitting there thinking, maybe thinking about your day, maybe thinking about nothing, maybe thinking about the dishes, you could come potentially to an appreciation of the fact that you have a home. You have a home where you can cook your meals. You have dishes. You have dishes that you can use to serve your family, food that you worked for, that maybe something good can come of it, you know? Because this robot, I don't know. It's so expensive. It's so crazy expensive. Like it's so much money. Why don't you just hire a person? You could hire a person. If you have robot money and you've never seen any sci-fi, still hire a person. You could watch movies with your butler. You could make that one of the jobs. I need you to do windows, floors, and hang out. Like I do need a friend. I've been very lonely. It's incredibly important to not take for granted all those things that even though they're inconvenient, they're a part of your life, you know? I've made friends doing things I didn't want to do. Like there were moments where I was like, oh, this thing is taking up my time. Or maybe I'm delayed. You know, sometimes you get delayed, whether it's the train, it's the airport, you're waiting on a bus, you get delayed. And you don't want to be delayed. You want to get where you're going. That's why you want to go there. I understand. But everyone's delayed. It's the same problem everyone has. And everyone having the same problem is one of the fastest ways to build community. You know? Because now everybody's upset that you're delayed. And there's always that one person that isn't traveling with anyone. So they kick it off for everybody. Oh. I'm sure they seem upset. They seem upset. But I think they're having this outburst because they don't have anybody to turn to be like, can you believe? So then they turn to you. Can you believe? They turned to me and they were like, can you believe? And I was like, no, I do believe. Like, I don't think they would do it as a prank. Like, I do believe them when they say it's not here yet, because I also looked out the window and it's not here yet. And I don't think they, like, hide in it. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be a very bad prank to be like, we gonna tell them the flight not coming. You know how people love that, right? Like, that's one of my favorite things. I can't believe they didn't do that on Punk'd. I can't believe that Ashton Kutcher didn't delay a whole flight just so that people could be like, and then... No, it's fine. It's fine. It'll be okay. It'll be all right. And she was like, yeah, maybe if it gets here, it'll be all right. But no, it'll be all right. I was like, well, what is it? What's wrong? What's wrong? She's like, I have somewhere to be. I'm supposed to meet my grandbaby. I'm supposed to meet my grandbaby. All right. And immediately I had more empathy for where she was coming from, because she wasn't just upset the flight was delayed because she likes being a problem. She is a grandbaby to me. I've never had a grandbaby to meet, but I imagine if I did, I would be in a hurry. I have a grandbaby to me. I was like, oh, really? You have a grandbaby? How old? And she's like, she was born 3 days ago. I was like, wow, 3 days ago. Okay. It does sound like you got plenty of time to get over there, because 3 is, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, she knew, like that. You know what I mean? Like, she got a whole life ahead of her, and I think it'll be fine, you know. I was like, do you have any pictures? And she was like, oh, do I have pictures? And then she showed me pictures of her brand new grandbaby, and it was incredibly sweet. We just sat there at the gate. I didn't even mention to her that I had been at this airport for 32 hours. And she was showing me pictures of her grandbaby. It was incredible. I just think that a lot of things could be missed out on, you know, with this robot, because even the duties, even the stuff that it's supposed to do, that's stuff that would be great to do with your people. You want this thing to cook for you or whatever? Why don't you invite your friends over? You have a meal together. That's a memory. Now you're not like laying in front of the TV waiting for this robot to finish. A robot, by the way, that if it came down to some nuts in the dish, because even in the product rollout, they had this, I guess they had this journalist ask the questions we would ask. And so one of the questions was, well, how do I know, you know, you say this robot can lift whatever, like 150 pounds over its head. How do I know that it's not going to kill me in my sleep? If you're worried that your black robot is gonna kill you in your sleep, do you know? I'll tell you right now. I'm not a scientist. I'm not into tech like that. I'm not an engineer. I don't. The number one way to not have your black robot kill you in your sleep is to not have a black robot in your house at all.
You guys are so wonderful. Are y'all ready for your headliner? Y'all start clapping right now. Give it up for Josh Johnson.
I don't know if y'all saw everything that's happening with Tesla either. That's crazy stuff. Okay, so basically, if you're not aware, Tesla is an electric vehicle that, you know, rewind just a couple of years, was not a political statement at all. It was a car you could buy or not buy. It was just a car on the market that had some stock, and the stock would go up and go down and go up and go down. And then, you know, Elon Musk decides to get involved with politics and gives anywhere from like 250 to I think maybe $270 million to Trump's campaign. And then Trump wins, and Elon becomes the president. And so Elon becomes the president, and people don't really know how to feel because this particular thing hasn't happened before. There's always been like millionaires and billionaires donating to campaigns and stuff like that, but this is the most like infused a person has been in like what's gonna happen, and it's very clear in what is self-serving when it comes to like Elon's actions and everything. And so then, you know, inauguration day comes, and there's all the fanfare of like this new administration is starting. And there are some people who own Teslas already, like they bought theirs in 2022. And they would tell people, hey, I bought mine in 2022. Like, I don't. Just so you know, I got mine in 2022. I didn't know, and I wasn't a part of it. And I was trying to get an electric vehicle to help the environment. I didn't know it would be. So, just so you know about me. And then Elon's giving a speech, and then he says, my heart goes out to you. And then he does like a full-on Nazi salute, right? And does it again, for clarity. And there is a part of me that genuinely, when someone buys something, especially something expensive, and then something happens with that company, a part of me does feel for them, because there are people who bought their Tesla in 2022. They might have been sitting in their Tesla when they saw Elon do a Nazi salute, like. And now you sitting here, you gotta lease this car. I don't know if y'all saw, but Trump released the JFK files, or at least is starting to release the JFK files, and yeah, it's a lot. He said there's like 80,000 pages or something. I think they've released like anywhere from like 2 to 20,000 already, with more to come and stuff. And I don't know about anybody else, but when it comes to JFK and the conspiracies around his death, those were like some of the first moments that you saw, for at least a wide population of Americans, trust in government and its agencies break. A trust that they've never got back since, where like whole government agencies don't have the trust of the people, because up until then, you know, maybe they classified things, maybe they told the public lies or whatever, but they were things that people felt like they could at least get on with life believing. You know, JFK was the first thing for a lot of people that spawned the real like tinfoil hat stuff, what aren't they telling us sort of thing. And so you would see something like this big release of the files, you know, 20,000 with like 60,000 more to come. And it's kind of crazy that everyone sees that and they're like, nah, I'm good. 80,000 pages? I don't think JFK cares that much. That's 80,000 pages. Game of Thrones isn't 80,000 pages. 80,000 pages is insane. What are you doing? You know, it's like the thing is full. It's full. I've read some of it, and it's full of things that are snapshots of the time that JFK was assassinated in, but they aren't things that people were looking for. When people talk about files that they want released, they're talking about things that probably have been destroyed forever, like the some of the autopsy files, some of the coroner's notes, all that stuff like that is not in what's been released. What's been released are the goings on of like Cuba, Mexico City, USSR, and everything. And the one thing that we did find out for sure through the release of the files is that the CIA had a much bigger file and much more knowledge of Lee Harvey Oswald than we previously thought. and they had been tracking his movements and everything. He had been going to these different countries. I'm pretty sure he went to Mexico City for a little bit, and then he went to the USSR. And I don't know if the word is defect, but he basically was trying to leave the U.S., become an expat, and join USSR, and even tore up his passport and everything. And the USSR was like, "Oh, nah, nah, we good." That's crazy to me. That's someone, you have a CIA file on you and you're trying to move to the USSR, and they are like, you giving off some bad vibes. Like, I don't know what it is, but you creeping everybody out. Like, you stare too much, dog. Like, you just, what are you looking at when you looking over here? It's unsettling. Just take that somewhere else. And so then he came back somehow. Didn't seem like he had a problem coming back, even though he tore up his passport. And then commits the assassination. And then Jack Ruby kills Lee Harvey Oswald. And there were so many people who thought that Jack Ruby's mob ties meant that he was sort of there to close up loose end, that maybe the mob did it. And even now, there are people that say, oh no, the mob did it, Cuba did it, the Soviets did it. I think that when you're going through all these pages and you're reading this stuff that we're learning about how much the CIA and the FBI actually knew and didn't do anything, it doesn't really surprise me. It doesn't do much for me in the way of a revelation. And it's probably just because, because I'm black. You know what I mean? As a black guy, I'm not going to sit here and be like, not the CIA. You mean to tell me the CIA? Next, you're going to be talking about the FBI. Guys, no, not at all. Because that's the thing. That's what trips me up too, is all these pages are getting released. There are things that were released during Trump's first administration that were redacted pretty heavily, and then they've been re-released, not redacted, right? Or just one line redacted. So much so that there are people that are actually mad at Trump because they're like, some of that stuff, some of those people are still alive. What are you doing? You know what I mean? And so then, you'll have like one little line that's redacted, and you'll have someone obsess over that specific line because it's not finding the truth for them. It's about keeping the conspiracy going, because you'll even see they uploaded it to the archives. You can check it out in the archives right now. They uploaded everything they've uploaded so far. In my opinion, they've done pretty badly. I think they just had a scanner and they were like, he said today, so... I know it's crooked. He said today. I know. Honestly, I looked at some of the files, some of the handwriting in some of the notes, whether it's written by a CIA agent or like some politician, some of the notes in there are so bad. Like, the handwriting is so bad. I'm like, he did it. Like, that's suspicious as hell, handwriting. Little thing. Little line will be redacted. Oh, that's what they don't want you to see. That's where all the truth is. It's like, look, maybe. I'm not even saying that's not possible. Maybe. But also... maybe it's just like an address that makes sure that a person who has nothing to do with this doesn't get implicated. There are all types of reasons to redact something. And it's when people put that much weight on the thing to keep the whole thing going that I'm like, you don't want to know. You want to keep guessing, And don't get me wrong, it's fun. It's fun to guess. I love guessing. I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. Sometimes I'm just guessing. No, best way I can describe it is I'm a fight fan, so I watch boxing, I watch MMA and stuff like that, and I watch men's fights, I watch women's fights, and I just kind of follow the fighter and follow their journey and enjoy who I enjoy because I like the person, I like their story, right? And there was this young woman, I do not know if she is from Brazil. I think she is because I'm pretty sure she was speaking Portuguese, and she only speaks Portuguese. She doesn't speak English. So after fights, when someone wins, especially if they don't speak the language, they will do the post-fight interview right there. And they might do another press conference later, but they'll do the post-fight interview. And if they do not speak the language, someone will come out, a translator for the promotion will come out. And in this case, her translator was her coach. So she wins the fight, and it's big. It's the biggest fight that she's won of her career. It puts her in the rankings and everything. And so the announcer walks up, and he's like, "Congratulations on a fantastic fight. Was this win mean to you? It's sort of putting you on the map right now against such a tough opponent." And she speaks for like 8 seconds, and then her coach goes, "Thank you so much, everybody, for watching my fight. I really appreciate it. I worked really hard, and thank you so much for the love." And then she speaks for another 8 seconds. And the coach is like, "Everything that I do, I'm doing for y'all at home, from my town, to show you that no matter what, where you're from, you can make it on the world stage." And then the announcer asks her, what are your future plans? What's next for you? You know, now that you're in the rankings, is there a certain opponent you want to call out? And she speaks even shorter this time for like 6 seconds. And then her coach is like, "Yeah, the next plans are anybody who wants it, all right? I'm taking heads, I'm taking necks. I want your limbs, give me your arms, give me your legs. If I see you on the street, it's already on, you already know. The best thing you could do is drop out of the division right now, because I'm coming for all y'all's necks. I'm killing everybody, all right? You're gonna dream about me, and then when you wake up, I'm gonna be there. That's on God, okay? I'm killing all of y'all. None of y'all can stop me. None of y'all can touch me. What I did to her was a mercy killing. I'm coming to kill y'all for real. I want your bodies, okay? I'm stacking bodies, all right? And the champ, I'm going to beat the champ, and I'm going to beat the brakes off the champ in her hometown. She's going to bleed in front of her people, okay?" And then they exited the octagon. They went ahead and left, and then there was a fighter, because, you know, fighters watch other fighters' fights, and they'll live tweet it, and he tweeted right after that whole thing, "She ain't say all that." And I'm not gonna lie, that's what those redacted lines feel like to me sometimes, where I'm just like, yeah, look, maybe the whole truth is in the one sentence, but maybe it's in the 80,000 pages that nobody feels like reading. Because Trump said he was gonna release JFK files, and he slowly released them over time, I guess. And then there were people that were like, "Well, why don't you release the Epstein files? The Epstein files are what we want. That's what we're actually focused on. Why won't you release the Epstein files? Is it because you actually knew Epstein? Is it because you might be implicated? Is it because you were on the flight logs? Why won't you release the Epstein files?" All right. And then he does release the Epstein files. But what he does is he releases a bunch of files that were already released like last year, and then redacts some of them to make them look like they're newly half redacted files. And then people called it online immediately. They were like, "No, this isn't it at all." And then even the people who were like showing it off and like, "Look at this transparency," then they got mad because they were like, "You made us look like idiots. We thought you were releasing stuff you hadn't released before." And so then people called again, "Why aren't you releasing the Epstein files?" So if you're Trump, you know, you're probably sitting here, the only thing you can do is release the Epstein files and hope it's 100,000 pages. You know what I mean? Who would have known the only distance between people and getting to the truth was reading? You know what I mean? We want to know. We as a people have the right to know. It's 80,000 pages. I'm gonna wait till the movie come out. But what are you gonna do? You know, Elon's the president. We know he's the president because, first of all, he tell everybody to report to him, sending whole government employees emails, tell me everything you did. It's like, isn't some of that classified? Like, it's wild. You stand in the Oval Office talking about what we're doing. It's like, who is we? Got your son in there. That's how you could tell Trump not the president. Got Elon's son rubbing his boogers on him. I've had a lot of jobs and a lot of bosses. And no boss's child has ever rubbed boogers on me. I will quit before I let your child rub boogers on me. Elon is the face of Tesla. And he's also the face of Doge, this department that's been cutting all these government jobs and gutting a lot of government programs and everything. And I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of people across the political spectrum about Doge, about their actions, and from the time it started to present, right? So some people are like, oh yeah, it's a little bit much now that we're very much on its side. There are some people that still don't see a problem. There's some people that hate it from the very beginning. But one thing that I have not come across, and I only speak for myself, I'm not talking about I can't speak for the entirety of the internet. One thing I've come across is that there is no one who I have come across that says that there's no waste in the government and that they don't want to get to the bottom of what can be saved or what can be put to better use somewhere else. I think that's what generally everybody would want. If you pay your taxes and then you see where money's being wasted, it's like, oh, we have so many people who need that money in other departments, just move it over to them or give it back to the people or whatever the thing is. I don't think people inherently are upset about the idea that there's waste in the government. I know people that work in the government, they're like, this is a little waste. And so all of it comes down to what you cut and how you do it. That's it, top to bottom. That's the only thing anybody could really have a problem with, what you cut and how you do it, right? And I'll be vulnerable for a second. I'll admit to you right now, I've worked jobs. I've worked jobs where I was like, I'm not gonna tell anybody, but like, they really don't need me. Like, as long as they paying, I'll keep showing up. But like, and you end up seeing what happens. Because the thing with whether it's voters or whether it's like rhetoric around how to handle this stuff, there are people who even now genuinely believe, oh, let's get a business person. Let's get someone who's good at business in government so they can run the government as efficiently as they run their business, right? And the problem there is that, like, let's say Amazon, a good example is like, let's say Amazon makes a mistake. And they make a mistake that all of us, everyone here, can acknowledge and see as a mistake. And so as a mistake, their stock drops because they lose some of the faith from their shareholders. Now, we see that drop in the stock, and maybe the mistake they make is they announce that all the cars from now on gonna have 3 wheels. Like, oh, we're gonna save so much money on tires. And we're like, no, you're gonna flip over, okay? And so then you see the stock start to dip because of that lack of confidence. And then for you as a potential investor, even a retail investor, that dip in the stock is an opportunity. You can buy in now. You can buy into that dip, and then when it goes back up, because they realize that 4 is probably best, that you can ride that wave on up. Fair enough. When you crash out a business, when you make mistakes in business, when you run a poor business, you can always start another business. The people who we even look up to as these beacons of industry were all people at some point who had a failed business, right? But the government is not a business, because if you crash out the government, if you make the same mistakes with the government, you don't have a country. And you can't just be like, no, we're just going to start new America. You know, I used to have like a lemonade stand America, and that one didn't really work out, so I started like a tire shop America, and that still really wasn't it. So then I started this hedge fund America, and now we're cooking. Yeah. It does not work that way. And you saw what happened. You saw Elon run the government because he's the president. You saw Elon run the government the way he ran his business. When Elon took over Twitter, right? He comes into Twitter and he immediately starts firing everybody because he's like, you're waste, you're redundant, I don't know what you do, I don't know what that is, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. And then a couple days after he took over, remember that brief period where he was like, how do you turn it on? And then someone who still worked there, who he didn't fire, was like, oh, you fired the dude who turned it on. Yeah, you asked me for a list of people to fire. I'm not going to put my name on the list. And so you see, you end up seeing Elon firing people and then trying to like hire them back real quick and trying to like smooth over the things that he broke that didn't need breaking, you know? And then Doge ends up working the same way. It ends up swooping in and firing a bunch of people and then trying to hire some of them back real quick, and it's chaos. And Elon is the face of it. He's the face of it because we didn't know who else was working in Doge. We didn't know who was essentially like hacking into Social Security, who was going around judges' orders, who was breaking things and going to places they weren't supposed to be because we hadn't figured out how this whole thing was going to work. We didn't know. And then we found out that it was children. We found out they leaked the photos of those people that were high up in Doge that were getting into Social Security and the IRS and everything. And we were like, what? Fresh out of school, I saw one kid's picture who was like high up in Doge doing all the breaking in and stuff. And I was like, Peter Parker? I cannot believe that Spider-Man gonna cut off my grandma's Social Security. So I don't think anyone saying like there's no waste, but it's what you cut and how you cut it. You know, I think people would have appreciated like an actual audit. They said that they did one, but usually when you do an audit and you really account for the waste and you really account for what jobs you do and don't need, you don't have to hire anybody back. You know? The amount of people that they fired and then tried to immediately rehire shows that they're not actually being as careful as they should be with the process. Because I'll tell you right now, everyone that has ever fired me stood firm in their decision. I've never been fired and then somebody ran out after me. Hold on. That's my bad. I was wild. Yeah, I was trying to look good in front of the other employees. You come on back in here. That has never happened. Anyone who has ever fired me has never called me again. But then Elon is the face of him. People don't know what to do. They don't know what to do to express their anger and their disappointment, their frustration about this unelected person gutting these government programs. And you see where people, it's not just like a one-sided thing. It's not just like a liberal thing. You know, there are people who are like, I voted for Trump. I believe in what Doge is doing, but then I'm told that I'm being cut because of bad performance, even though I'm holding right here a performance review for like a month before the election where they said that I was doing great, you know? And so then people across the political spectrum are going to the town halls and they're complaining to the representatives, and the representatives, they're not really hearing them out. They're not really backing them up. So there's even more frustration, and it's bubbling up and it's bubbling up. And he's the face of two things. He's the face of Doge and he's the face of Tesla. And so then people go to the Tesla dealership and he's not there. But people go to the Tesla dealership and they start protesting at the Tesla dealership, and then the stock starts tanking because there are people that are like, being attached to this right now is not a good look, you know? And then people start vandalizing Teslas, start putting swastikas on the Teslas and stuff like that. And then there are people who, you know, bought a Tesla in 2022. They're like, guys, I didn't know. I had no idea. And almost immediately, it felt like almost immediately, Trump came to his defense, right? Trump invited Elon to the White House. I mean, he already got an office there because it's his White House. He's the boss. He's the president. But Trump told Elon, hey, bring a bunch of Teslas, park them out front of the White House. We'll do a dealership commercial. This man got in the Tesla. Trump got in the Tesla, was like, everything's computer. Which is not wrong. It's not wrong. I remember my first Tesla experience. You know, I didn't ride in a Tesla for a long time. I heard about it as a car, but I didn't get to be in one, and I don't drive, so I didn't try to drive one or anything. And my first Tesla that I ever got in was an Uber. And so when I walked up, I didn't know about the door. I didn't know the door would be all smooth like that. So this is me. Look, I'm admitting for a second. I'm being vulnerable here. I'm admitting for a second that this is me. This is my bad. I was doing too much in my head. I was doing too much, all right? Know that I know that before I even admit this to you. I was doing too much, right? But when I walked up to the Tesla, I thought my driver sucked the door in because I was black. And I was standing there like, never in all my days have I seen this type of racism. I was fierce. It was all smooth and everything. And so finally, driver noticed I'm not getting in the car, so he rolled down the window. I lean over all indignant like, and then he started explaining how to open it. I was like, what do you mean you gotta push to pull? That doesn't even make sense. And then I get it with my thumb, and I was like, oh. Oh, okay. Got in the Uber, we took off. And this is the thing with the gig economy jobs, right? Is that, how do I put this? There's a social contract we have not written yet on like how much this is like your property versus my time versus our experience, right? And so when I get in an Uber, I'm very respectful of the fact that this person's car. This isn't my car, right? I'm not renting it so it can be my car for a little while. And we're sharing this time together, but it is my time that I'm paying for, so that's what makes me the customer, you know? So I try to not make any waves. I get in an Uber and I'm just like whatever they need to do. Sometimes there are people who start driving Uber very, very early, so they're tired. And so they got to blast themselves with cold air. They have to have their window down. And I'm like, I'd rather that than us die warm, you know? So I don't say anything. I'm like, I'll just be uncomfortable on the way to the airport because that's what's keeping this man awake. And this is the person that showed up to drive me, right? So I almost never say anything. It's a very big deal for me to even try to say anything. And I go ahead and I do it, though. And I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm not like, I usually don't do this or anything. But you know, I leaned over to him and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. But could you please, could you please like touch the wheel? Like, no, I know it's autopilot. I know it's autopilot. You put it in, everything. I just don't know what I'm paying for if we going. Like, if we, like, I'm not telling you how to drive. I'm telling you to drive. Like, it would be nice if you did drive. Like, just put a finger up. Make me believe. Just put a finger. And so you see all of these attacks on Tesla increasing, and the stock price dips and dips and dips. And it goes up a little bit. Every once in a while it goes up because there's some people who don't care about any of this at all, and they see it as an opportunity to buy low. And so it'll go up a little bit, maybe like 3-4% here, and then it drops a little bit more, and it's down from its high by a lot. And you've even seen people like in the Trump administration come out and say, hey, if you vandalize a Tesla, we're treating it as domestic terrorism. We're coming for you if you touch a Tesla, right? And it's just baffling, because everything that Trump is doing for Elon and everything that his administration is doing for Tesla is exactly what they were supposed to do for the voters. You know what I mean? Like Trump saw that his boy was having a little dip, was like a little bit more broke than he was the day before. He was like, let me help you out. You know what I mean? That felt like a campaign promise that I thought he made to everybody, but apparently he was just talking to 3 people. And even going after people who vandalize a Tesla as domestic terrorism. Like, when do we ever talk about domestic terrorism? You know how much domestic terrorism we have? It's a lot. And then you see Elon go on the news, and genuinely he seems like really upset, like genuinely hurt. And I think it's because, look, he's still richest man in the world, but he used to be the richest man in the world by a larger margin. Like, he has lost billions and billions and billions of dollars, right? And he's so affected by it. And I think that maybe he's so affected by it because when these things are such a part of your life, they do become your identity. Maybe being richest man in the world, maybe being seen as this, like, this business guru, this scientific mind, all that stuff crumbles away when the people are not with you, when the people can't stand you, when you've angered them, when they don't want to have anything to do with you, And he sees the destruction, he sees the people turning on him, and he seems genuinely upset. And I don't think his feelings are hurt because some people are mad at him. He's never going to meet these people. I think that when you attach so much of your self-worth to this money and this status, this influence and this power, that even the prospect of losing it can rattle you deep down, right? To your core as a person. And it looks like he's about to cry on the news when he's talking about, I don't know what I did to deserve this. It's like... And look, I'm glad he said that to a camera by himself and not like to a veteran's face. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't really get that, the dude on Fox was like, you've done nothing to deserve this. You're a true patriot, whatever he said. And, I was sitting here watching Elon get genuinely sad. And I was like, oh, my heart goes out to you.
Nothing.